Welcome to the Circuito de Jerez, Ángel Nieto, and welcome to a new era of Spanish single-seater feeder series. It is almost time for the first ever race of the E4 Championship, one of the two competitions alongside Eurocup 3, which will form the Spanish Winter Championship with the goal of giving drivers and teams the much-needed possibility to race a bit earlier than usual during winter in the Northern Hemisphere. And there is good reason for that, because historically the alternatives have seen drivers travel to New Zealand or to the Middle East for these winter competitions, where often they could not race with the same teams they would race later on during the season. By contrast, most of the E4 and Eurocup 3 teams will continue during the regular season, which means in many ways this will serve as a prologue or a dress rehearsal for what we could see in 2025. And of course, this means we get more races, 9 more races for each series in total for this Spanish Winter Championship, for a total of 18, as we said. And this weekend we will have 6 races, 3 for each series. And starting with the E4, the format, you will see it, is one that you are very familiar with 2 feature races, 1 sprint race. But of course, the grid, we will have time to talk about that. The grid for the sprint race will be formed a little bit different from what's usual, with this reversing of the top 10 positions on the grid. But anyway, we are really excited to get this new area of Spanish feeder series undergo. So we have, as we said, this total of 4 events, which will be 3 for E4 and 3 for Eurocup 3. So we have quite a lot of racing, which drivers will have to take very, very seriously if they want to start creating these rivalries, if they want to start understanding how the rivals behave on track. And this will be particularly important because, as you know, as we've seen in the past many times, drivers tend to have to use that experience against the rivals to know exactly when to attack, when to defend, and where exactly each rival is weak on the track. Although, to be honest, I would say that no driver here is actually weak. They are all very, very experienced. Although we have a small difference between those drivers that actually have raced in the past in Spanish Formula 4, for example, last year. Some of them will continue to be racing this year in Spanish Winter Championship and in the regular season later on. But some of them come directly from karting. So for some, this will be the first actual racing experience. So it will be very, very interesting to see how they actually get on with this new situation in their careers. Of course, they know what competition is. European karting championships and world karting championships are fierce on track, so they know very well how to deal with that pressure. But of course, a new change of category is always a challenge to face head on. So we are seeing right now live images from the Circuito de Jerez, Ángel Nieto. We are seeing the cars already on the grid. And we have our men on the field. We have right here Miguel Portillo, right on the starting grid, right on the starting position. I think probably we can see a few cars soon getting nearby. Miguel, happy to see you again. Happy to talk to you. Tell us how are things going.
Alex, hello everybody. Here we are in the grid on the track of Circuito Jerez. The race is just about to start. All the cars are rolling in, waiting just for the beginning because ahead 30 minutes plus 1 lap. Here with the pole sitter, amazing you said, and you talk about the guys who are coming for the karting 3 times, champion of the karting in his country. Okay. Champion of the world, Jan Prigonski, the man you are watching in the first position. Everything was super close in this very first qualifying. And also we have here another man from Griffin with the 99. Also one of the stars of the championship. They're going to start together. The 2 guys from the Griffin. Esteban with the 99 number, 16 years old. Also one of the most important men that we're going to see here. Super young, all getting ready for the season. Again, later on we're going to have in the next month Formula 4 and then Eurocup 3. But first of all, getting ready for this champion Spanish Winter Series. Eurocup 4 about to start. We are going to take a look for everybody. But the 2 Griffin in the same position, first and second, fighting for the very first start in this, trying to get the victory, the very first victory. So, Prigonski in the first position, Esteban second. Let's see this fight and this start. Alex, the race is just about to start, all for you.
We look forward to it, Miguel. We will be also paying attention to anything that you may be able to bring us from the pit lane in case there's any need for that. And of course, we will be back with you later on when we have to listen to whoever will be the first winner of this 2025. Let's remember that, as we said, for many of them, this is their first experience racing with these, let's say, Formula 4 machines, although this is the new E4 Championship of the Spanish Winter Championship, this new series. And we have some trouble already a little bit further down the grid. One of the cars on that right side of the grid, which is being rolled out, probably with some kind of technical problems. And as Miguel was mentioning, here we can see that this is number 41. So I will let you know in just a minute. This is the DXR car from Stepan Suslov. So we have already that first problem of the season. This is not the best way to start a new season, although as many drivers and teams often say, and we see the car starting this formation lap, it is better to have problems now than to have them maybe 3 or 4 months later when you are actually fighting for this regular championship, this regular series, which everyone will be looking to win. But this is racing, and for drivers, they don't like to lose even at any kind of board game. If you tell them to play chess game with you, they will give them their all. If you tell them to race on foot, they'll give it their all. And of course, if you put them in a racing car, they will do even a little bit more. So we are seeing the formation lap ongoing. This is a nice weather that we're having here in the Circuito de Jerez Ángel Nieto, a track that, as we said, many drivers know well from the past, and it is the perfect time to check the results we had from the qualifying session with, as Miguel was saying, Jan Frisowski with this pole position, Thomas Trauben in this second place, El Fegali Eijkmans in this second row, followed by Schwartz, Costa, Cantan, Tai, Spina, and Lammers, rounding up the top 10. These will be probably the drivers that will have the most chances of having a good result, but the weekend is very long, and as we said, there are 2 more races which will give drivers a good chance of recovering if they don't have the best start of the season. We are seeing the drivers getting round to the Ayrton Senna chicane, although we will see them reaching now that point, and soon that will mean that we will be having everyone setting for the grid. We can see the work at the DXR team trying to make sure that everything is as fixed as possible for the driver, hoping that they could join the race, even though they will have to have a pit lane start, which is far from ideal. Also, we are seeing the drivers reaching these last few corners. Important to warm up the tires, important to get the brakes into temperature as well, especially in this winter series, because the temperatures are lower than they are usually during the season. This means that the settings are different. The driving style in many cases can change a little bit because the cars may not be set up the exact same way that they might be set up when we come back to the series later during the year. In that case, will be during the Spanish Formula 4 Championship. We are ready for the beginning of this Spanish Winter Championship. We are seeing the cars rolling down the grid, getting ready for this historic start, because let's remember this is the... Oh! And that is one of the Monlau cars. That's Alexander Jacobi, the North American, which had a spin, most likely when he was warming the tires. I'm not sure if this is a stalled engine or not, but if the engine is stalled, we might have a small delay in the race start. We are seeing now all the other drivers prepared for this supposed racing start, and I say supposed because we are waiting to see what happens with Jacobi, number 27 from Monlau Motorsport, one of the historic teams as well in this series, which is also known for the work that they do, and a few teams do that, the work that they do with young mechanics and engineers and not just young drivers. And the grid is formed. We have this yellow flag, and yes, exactly, we have another formation lap or another warm-up lap, because naturally we cannot start the race with one of the machines stranded on track. Now that is a shame, because we have to wait a little bit more for this start of the race. And this is what we were talking about. The temperatures are lower, and when the temperatures are lower, the grip of the tires is always going to be a bit more of a problem. It was this morning as well with qualifying session, both for E4 and for Euro Cup 3, and it might be also tomorrow for the last race of the weekend. Let's remember as well that E4 and Euro Cup 3 will have 2 races today. The first feature race and the sprint race, and the second feature race will be run tomorrow. But this gives us a little bit more time to focus on these first 2 drivers from Griffin Core by Campos. Let's remember this is one of the 2 teams under the Campos names, and they will be for sure some of the main protagonists of this 2025, the usual duel between Campos and MP Motorsport, which for the time being is continuing here in E4, although we have a few interesting standouts, such as El Fegali from Drivex, Eggmans as well from the second team, KCL MP Motorsport, and of course we have Nathaniel Tai from Rodin Motorsport, which should be also another interesting driver to keep an eye on. And of course all the mechanics and engineers from the teams, we saw them are looking at the clocks, are looking at their watches, thinking, well, if there's a small delay here, there will be a small delay for the next few races as well. And the time schedule is very, very tight today. So that may be a little bit of a challenge for some of them. I think that this looks like Jacobi may have enough help to get the car running again. Meanwhile, the rest of the group, the rest of the gang are getting back to the back of the track. So they are returning to this last sector of the Circuito de Jerez Ángel Nieto. And soon we will see them passing by the stranded machine number 27. There we go. It is right on the left side, and we are heading now to the pit lane, which means that we will have a little bit longer of a wait while the recovery teams get the car back to the pit lane, I think. And we have, we might have, I think, Miguel Portilla from the pit lane telling us something, or this is just for the time being images from Suslov. Miguel, what can you tell us from the grid, from the pit lane rather?
Go ahead, Alex, because this early beginning has been a little bit of messy for everybody. All the cars are coming in from the pit lane. That means with the red flags, everybody's going to be stay all together. They are trying to put Suslov in the same slot before the red flag. That means all the team is working, driving is working with Miguel Angel de Castro, trying to recover the position. That means if you have a red flag, you have to mention 1 lap before. I mean, and that mention means that the same lineup is going to be mandatory for the beginning of the race. That's why Suslov shouldn't lose the position, and that's why he could stay again into the race. So all the mechanics are working in the cars. They are finding an issue inside of the engine to try to recover the energy when you lose the start of the car. They are working on it. They were a little bit in a hurry, but Miguel Angel said, okay, it's a red flag, so take it easy. We're going to recover all the work again. We're going to put the cover of the engine again, and then we're going to try to fight to get the position again. So they are talking, and they are directly in connection with the Dirección de Carrera, the race director, and telling us, okay, it's a red flag. Let's try to find our slot. We are coming for the pit lane. This is the beginning of the pit lane, where all the drivers are trying to come again into the race, because the race probably hasn't started. And now we have in the second position, we have already said to you that Straven was on the best driver, and we're waiting to see him on the track. He has made a very, very good qualifying with the second position. But we want to see him, which is his pace on a track. Alex, you mentioned that all these drivers had a fight a lot in a karting championship, but we want to see them with this Euro Cup 4 fighting side by side and which is the real pace in a regular race. I mean, it is not the same to find the pace in a one lap if you can manage the car, but another thing is to try to find the pace between the car and also taking care of that one, because it's very important. The Hankook tires, they are super important for the championship, how they work with this condition, because the tarmac is getting warmer like a minute by minute. This very early morning was a bit of wet, but now it's super dry for sure, but the temperature is getting higher. And we are seeing here a Fagali, the first man with Red Bull colors, who is in the third position. I think he's on all demands, on other demands you have to take care. So Alex, here we are in the pit lane, and we should have the same start that before. So I'll tell you something, but the driver is working on it.
Thank you very much, Miguel Portillo from the pit lane. You bring us all the latest information. And as you said, one man's problem can be another man's salvation. We had these issues with Jacobi, which could potentially save one of the DXR cars. As you said, Miguel Angel de Castro was mentioning that they are fighting to try and get their car back into the original grid position. And we know that historically this has been possible, so the race director will have to evaluate if this is possible. But I would say that this looks like it should be allowed, especially because we know that we have 2 less minutes of racing. So technically this is considered also, as you said, Miguel Portillo, 1 lap less, one red flag technically due to what happened with the Monlau Motorsport machine. So it would be quite normal, let's say, to have that car from the XR recover his original position. And we are seeing all the cars in the pit lane. Of course, this is a tense moment for them because they have to deal with that anxiety, this tension in their heads as they think that they were starting the race, but they are not. And now they have to keep that concentration while they wait for the moment of truth, that moment where they will have to actually get back on the track and try to get, in some cases, defend their positions. In other cases, of course, try to overtake the rivals. We are seeing the car belonging to Santino Panetta, the Argentinian driver, car from TC Racing, apparently with some issues, as we had been seeing the team working on them. And we see as well that some of the Spanish fans have not disappointed, and knowing that there is a chance to see the stars of the future right today, they went to the track to enjoy this moment. Of course, as they should, because we love our race fans. We love the fans that are passionate about motorsport, about racing, about who could be starring in the future in great series. So, of course, they have to follow them and be able to brag in the future and say, you know what, I was there when they were starting in E4 Championship, in this Spanish Winter Championship in Jerez. So they are here enjoying what seems to be now finally a good, nice weather, because this morning, as Miguel was saying, it had been a little bit rainy, and we had even some humid track for the Eurocup 3 qualifying, which was a little bit of an extra challenge. The temperature will keep rising, and not only on the track as we naturally expect, but also on the temperatures of these drivers, which will have to deal with all that fight. We are seeing as well right now the number 37 car of Filippo Fiorentino driving for Drivix team. And of course, we keep waiting to see how the race direction deals with this situation. Of course, we have the car from Alexander Jacobi back into the pit lane. We saw him arriving at the back of the grid, and that means that most likely in just a few minutes we will be back in action. Another well-known surname, Noah Monteiro, of course the son of former Formula 1 and touring car driver Thiago Monteiro, who's racing this season for the Campos Racing team, and will be one of the drivers to keep an eye on. A good driver in karting championships, starting from 13th on the grid, and he will be for sure a driver that we may be looking out for in future years as well. And in the meantime, we can also consider looking at other drivers that have done a good job that we may see in other series. We have to think, for example, of the female drivers that we have this weekend. We have, for example, Leah Block starting from 24th position. She will be racing with ART Grand Prix, one of the teams that will not continue for the regular championship, for the regular season. And of course, for her, this is an important moment of the year because she is preparing for this F1 Academy championship in which she will race in 2025. 2 minutes ahead of us, just a small wait, and we will be back on track. Now, I would like to know if this is considered a red flag, if we will actually have a grid start, or we actually may have one lap behind the safety car before we have a rolling start. So we will see how that is handled by race direction. But it would be a shame if we cannot have a proper race start. But of course, we have to think as well of the schedule for the day. So in less than 2 minutes, we will know exactly how this situation is resolved and how these 33 participants will make us enjoy the first action of the year, or let's say the first racing action of the year. We have already had this qualifying, and as we were saying, this order has us seeing Przowski and Strauben from Griffin Corby Campos in the first row of the grid, ahead of Fegali, Aikman, Schwartz, Costa, Cantantai, Lammers, Saufler, Fiorentino, Steven Haydens, Monteiro, Spinatrapa, Suslov, Lee, Petrovic, Riva, Band, Pat Posh, Carras Novels, Carras, Block, Felbermayer, Jacobi, Bastarrica, Panetta Campos, Monarca, Carduño, and Anagnostiadis in the last position right now in 32nd as we wait to see exactly what ends up happening with this restart that we are hoping that we can see an actual grid start, but we will have to wait for a moment and see. We are seeing right now this is El Fegali starting from the third position as we have cars already moving down, and these new colors for the KCL MP Motorsport in red rather than in white as they were last year, that made sometimes a little bit tricky to discern some of the machines from different teams, or let's say from different squads within the same team. And I suspect that this is treated as a safety car restart, which means that we should be having a rolling start as we get to the main straight instead of starting from stopped positions, which is a shame because we would have liked to see a proper standing start of this new series, of this new championship. But regardless, we have a race ahead of us, and technically we are already underway. We are having, therefore, Jan Przowski in this first place, taking the lead behind the safety car. And of course, now, this is important. All drivers will have to keep warming the tires. Remember, they come from the pit lane. No tire warmers, and this means that the temperatures have dropped, both in brakes and tires, and so it is important for this length of the Circuito de Jerez. Let's remember, these 4,429 meters, they have to make sure that they can increase temperatures as much as possible, because the first few corners will be decisive, especially because, again, I repeat, we do not have a standing start, so any restart action will be key to setting good positions for this first race of the year. We are now entering the last sector of the track after the Aspar corner. Going into Angel Nieto, we will follow with Peluki before reaching the Ayrton Senna chicane, which is used by car racing in this circuit, as opposed to the long corner that motorbikes use. Now this is the variation, as you can see. The chicane also used by Formula 1 whenever they are testing here. In fact, some of the Formula 1 teams were testing earlier this season. And so these Formula 4 cars will be having a little bit of rubber on the track. Not much, especially considering the presence of the rain recently, but there will be some rubber on track, which is always helpful. We see the safety cars still staying on track, so I am not sure if this will mean that we might have a second lap behind the safety car, so the race continues in this neutralized position. So still yellow flag on track, still safety car on track, and I am hoping that the race will go underway soon, because we are aching for some action. We really want to see these drivers dicing it out on track, fighting for position. This is what we came here for, and of course this is what they came here for. And I can guarantee to you that drivers will be feeling that feeling. They will be eager to get on with it. They will be thinking, as we have so often heard drivers tell on the radio, come on, we can go on track, we can race already, let us go out. And especially for those drivers that are not Jan Przewalski, because of course the Polish driver is in first place, and this means that he is comfortable enough in this position. But drivers like Thomas Strauber, like El Fegali, like Eggmans, like Schwartz, these will be wanting to fight, these will be wanting to recover some positions. But for the time being, they have to keep their cool, they have to increase only the tire temperature, not their own temperature, as they will get ready for the beginning of the season. Although, as I say, technically we are already underway, so all the time that we are using here will be less time that the drivers will have to compete. So it's now just over 23 minutes to the end of the race. As always, when the time reaches 0, we will have an extra lap on top of the one that we are doing. So we will still have a good amount of racing, although for many drivers this will feel a little bit more like a sprint race. We have to remember, there is also the matter of the tires. Teams have to choose the right tires for the right circumstances, and considering some of the races are longer and some are shorter, if there is any driver that chose to go out with used tires in this race, that may have been a genius move, because we are, at the time of speaking right now, losing almost guaranteed 8 minutes of race. That is close to a third of the action. So any driver that actually is here on used tires will probably not have much trouble by the end of the race. We are seeing Jan Przewalski bunching up all the group behind him, so we know what that means. That means the safety car is going to go out, is going to come back to the pits. We don't see the safety car anymore, and that is good news. That is the best of news, in fact, because it means we are going green. And now we have a green flag, we have a restart, and we are finally ongoing. Finally, the Spanish Winter Championship E4 class is going, and we have now the first time in the main straight under racing conditions, and we have some action behind, but there are no changes in the order for the time being. Although we have some attack here, we have one of the drivers attacking in the inside. But for the time being, Jan Przewalski is defending first place without much trouble. First place for the Griffin Corby Campos driver, followed by his teammate. And the same order in the first places, although, as we said, we have some changes. We had the number 26 machine, driven by Nathan Tai, climbing some places and going up to P7 right now, as we are seeing the group getting to the Dani Pedrosa corner, the old dry sack corner. And of course, this is one of the best overtaking spots of the Circuito de Jerez, and we have some overtaking here. We are seeing the number 26 car driven by Aurelia Novels, trying to find a spot to overtake, and she was being able to do it. I think it was actually Leah Block she was overtaking. We are back also at the front, seeing the number 23, classic Campos Racing number, with Jan Przewalski, one of the drivers that we are absolutely going to be paying attention this season. For those that were already following the season last year, in this case the Spanish Formula 4 Championship, they will remember that Jan Przewalski was one of the standouts, one of the best rookies, finishing the championship in P10 with several podium finishes, and so he is one of the drivers to pay attention to this year, as we were saying. And we complete the first racing lap, and we are seeing Thomas Strauben very, very, very close to his teammate And we have also problems by one of the KCL machines, perhaps, it seemed to me. Or maybe that was Fran Monarca, one of the cars from Monlau. A tough start for the Catalan team that has been struggling with some issues that were definitely unforeseen, like that spin that we saw before the race was on. And we see one of the attacks in this case, under attack, the KCL driver of the car number 4, Aikmans, being overtaken by car number 1, Hudson Schwartz. That was a textbook move right down into the hairpin. And as always, it is a great spot for overtaking. And we saw that these drivers do not let any chance get away. So we have a change in position for P4. We're going to see, I think, that replay. We see how Schwartz made a perfect feint. Looked like he was attacking from the left and quickly turned to the inside to close off that move. Aikmans tried to keep that position outside, but the KCL MP Motorsport driver was not able to maintain that speed. And behind him we have also Nathan Tai, up to 6th place and on a good recovery race. We have to remember that the number 26 driver was starting from P8 on the grid, and now has already gained a couple of positions, a couple of places. As we also look at the leaders once again, Prisowski leading with a steady hand, but he will have to contend with his own teammate. That is always a tricky situation to manage, especially for teams in these categories, because yes, they belong to the same team. Yes, they are teammates. Yes, they will get to know each other very, very well. But in this case, is every man and woman for themselves, because these drivers want to win races. There is no such thing as a friend on the track. And we have another fight by the Campos drivers. In this case, I think that was Cantan attacking his teammate Costa, and that gave René Lammers a chance to attack, but he was not able to improve his position. But this goes to show us that race attack is of course necessary, but you always have to keep an eye on the rear mirrors, because you always have a rival who is willing to take a risk to show you what his or her rear wing looks like. And we are following this lead again, drivers. In this case, Prisowski, Strauben, El Fegali, Schwartz in the same order as before. There is a small cut between the drivers on the podium positions and the group that's following. We saw also Stephen Hayden's going a little bit wide there. And I think that's a technical issue for the MP Motorsport driver. I am very sure that that is a technical problem from, as we said, the number 22. That angle at the last corner, at the Jorge Lorenzo corner, showed us that there was something wrong, but that could have been just a driver error. But on the main straight, what we saw was that the speed carried by the driver was not very, very high. Oh, that is a little bit of autocross by number, of course, 33 on a Red Bull liveried car. That's not Max Verstappen, although it could be. That is Christopher El Fegali, one of the Red Bull Junior team drivers. And he was experiencing what it is like and showing us as well what it is like to drive these cars over the curbs. Making a little bit of a jump. And this is the attack that we were seeing before. That was very, very tight between the Campos racing drivers. That was Costa and Cantan as well. And going into the last corner, another change in positions that we were seeing from behind. And Jan Prisowski, we can see that he is pushing hard. He was almost 3/10 quicker than his main rival, and he's able to get away from his teammate, at least by a little bit. Although Strauben is reacting in the best possible way. He matched the time of his teammate in this last lap, so the difference stays for the time being in just over half a second. It is going to be tense. El Fegali, of course, had that a little bit of a scary moment going up the hill, and so he has lost a little bit of time. And that means that he is down to 3 seconds away from the race leader. Sliding a little bit there, Jan Przewalski up the hill, going to the backstretch. And not yet being too aggressive on the defense, because Strauben is not nearly close enough to attack. But careful with that, because it is the Belgian driver who had a good first sector. And we have the attack. Nathan Tai made another great move on the Dani Pedrosa hairpin. And that means that Schwartz is down one place. Tai has been definitely the driver with the most overtakes, the driver that is showing us the most action, and is up to 4th from 8th on the grid. We're going to see how he did it. Late minute, late moment, late attack here at the hairpin to catch the rival by surprise. And this is how you do it. So if any drivers are watching, this is what you need to remember. This is what you need to take note. That is how you overtake a rival. And we are also watching this group of challengers who are showing us a good amount of racing. But we cannot get our eyes away from the timing as well, because we are seeing a very, very good lap time by Strauben, a little bit faster than Jan Przewalski. So that means that with 13 minutes plus 1 lap to go, we will still have some good racing ahead of us. And the other Campos racing drivers are, of course, giving the usual activities, the usual fights. We are watching the drivers on track, in this case Miguel Costa, one of the Campos drivers, is ahead, but he will have to defend on that attack by his own teammate. That's Miguel Costa being overtaken by Vivek Kantan, and we know that the hairpin is a great overtaking spot, but drivers are not letting any chance go away. Side by side going after that hairpin. And that is, I want to say, one of the Drivex cars that might be Fiorentino attacking Costa. We were also seeing René Lammers on track for a moment. But let us see the repeat of how that happened. Another late move, but that was very, very, very tight. And a little bit of a tense moment there by Miguel Costa, one of the important karting stars. And we have another attack by one of the Red Bull drivers, Niklas Saufler, by KCL MP Motorsport, showing that he can also do some good overtakes. In this case, he left behind Gino Trappa, one of the Argentinian drivers. There are 4 of them on track this weekend, and of course that means the Argentinian fans will be looking to replicate maybe the next Franco Colapinto, one driver who started his racing career here in Spain in the Spanish Formula 4 Championship, and who did a fantastic job throughout his climbing off the ladder until he got to Formula 1. And this is what all of these drivers will want to emulate. Perhaps in 5 years and a half, some of these drivers might be knocking at the door of Formula 1, or why not racing already there? That is always the goal for many of these. Of course, it is not the only goal. There are many, many racing categories of the highest level that they will want to consider joining. Who knows, maybe some endurance racing, some GT racing, or why not try to go to the Americas or to Asia for other seriously exciting racing classes. But anyway, for the time being, we go back to the present, not to the future, because these guys, even though they are the future, they are showing us good racing right now Jan Przewski leading the race. He's still safely ahead of his teammate. Right now, around 8 tenths of advantage, which means that he's starting to push for that last third of the race. 10 minutes plus 1 lap ahead. And this is exactly what a racing leader needs to be doing. But the track action doesn't stop. We are seeing right now Petrovic making this overtake on the last corner, the Jorge Lorenzo corner. It seems that the corners dedicated to the biking, the two-wheel stars, are seeing the most overtakes today. And of course, we know that the group has a goal of overtaking. So this is why these drivers look for any chance. We were seeing it also here on this turn 3. And we saw as well Gino Trappa maybe losing a little bit more time than he would have liked. I don't know if he went wide on some corner. He was with Petrovic, but he's down to P16 right now. The Drivex Argentinian driver. A shame for him, a driver who, of course, raced in Spanish Formula 4 last year in Valencia. He was doing that also in preparation for the Motorsport Games, where he took part in the Formula 4 class. And he is back to the series this season, starting with the Spanish Winter Championship E4. And we're going to see the replay. Oh, and that might be... I'm not sure if this is... driver error, maybe missing a gear, or some kind of technical gremlin that is not allowing him to push as much as he would like to push. But regardless of that, we are back to seeing these drivers at the front, the guys who have been showing all the best action. Oh, and that is number 27, Alexander Jacobi, crashing out. This is at the back of the Sector 3. So that will mean we might have a safety car perhaps. And I'm hoping that we don't, because with under 8 minutes to go, we might not be able to have a restart unless there is a quick work done to get this car out of the gravel trap. This will be tight, I think, I suspect. We have now confirmation. Safety car is out on the track. And this is absolutely not what we wanted to see. This is not how we wanted to finish this race. So we are going to hope that the track action is going to be able to be resumed. For now, safety car. That neutralizes the action. But one man that will be very happy with this situation is Jan Przewski. He has been defending very, very well throughout the whole race. And in fact, I say defending, but he has driving very, very quick. And we can confirm now technical issues for Gino Trappa. While we see Alexander Jacobi already out of the car. What a difficult start to the season for him. Of course, we know that he had this extra bit of maybe tension in his body after that spin right now in this point during the formation lap. And maybe that put him in a difficult position for the rest of the race. Maybe he was being a little bit too nervous. As we always say, when everything changes, when drivers need to wait longer for the start, when things are not as usual, that's when things can happen. But this must be really, really frustrating for him. And the help by the ever-present stewards on the track are making sure that we might have a race restart. That was very, very quick. So if we are lucky, we might still have that chance. Let's stay positive, folks, because I think we might have this chance. There are still 5 minutes plus 1 lap. So if all this work to get the car out of the gravel trap is done quickly, we might still have some laps of racing left in here. And as you know, on safety car restarts, that means that all the group is bunched up together. So all that difference, for example, all that advantage that the Griffin Core Bicampos drivers had over El Fegali are brought down to nil. From over 3 seconds to right now 1.3, but it's 1.3 at this low speed. In high speed, this is nothing. A good restart and a good tow on this place that we are seeing on this spot might allow for some new overtakes. I look forward to that, hopefully, if we have that much needed, much wanted restart. The Monlau Motorsport mechanics looking to receive the racing car, that car number 27, which will have to be sent back to the pit lane. Because remember, there is still one more race today for them. It will be the sprint race, in which, as we were mentioning before, we will have the same grid order as race 1, but with that change in the top 10, which will be reversed. So 10th classified driver will start from P1, and the driver starting from pole position here, Jan Prisowski, will start from 10th place in the sprint race. So very much in the same vein as it is done by Formula 2 and Formula 3 races supporting the Formula 1 Championship. So we do not still have a race restart. We have one more lap of safety car. That means we still have a chance if the next lap is the last that we have under safety car conditions. Hopefully that will be the case, because otherwise we are really at the risk of not seeing that restart. We want to see how the progress is being done on the number 27 car, because that might be the key. And we want to see as well, if we have a restart, what Nathan Tai might be able to do, because he has been very aggressive on this race. He has been able to recover well from 8th on the grid, and we know that he will be for sure one of the drivers to keep an eye on for the sprint race, since starting from, in his case, it will be 3rd place this afternoon, will give him a very good chance to fight for the win. The two Griffin Core Bicampos cars will be looking to surprise each other. Prisowski with a steely defense, Strauben with a surprise attack, hopefully. At least that's what he will be hoping for. But I can tell you that the luckiest of all will be us fans if we have this restart, because we will be able to see a very exciting last dash to the finish line. It might even be of 2 laps if we have a restart now. Safety car lights are still on, but if we have a restart, that's 2 laps that we might have. If not, we still have one more possibility, one more chance. And that's what we are hoping. We are not seeing the number 27 car on track, so I am thinking, suspecting, hoping we will see it now. If it's still there or not, I am thinking that we might have a chance to have those 2 racing laps. And safety car lights are out. Jan Prisowski is bunching the group together, and you know what this means. We will have a restart, so we will have 2 more laps. That is great, that's fantastic, that's what we wanted. We would have hated to start the year with a aborted start and safety car finish, but luckily we can save the finish, and now we are going to be under green flag as Jan Prisowski accelerates, goes all out, and starts what will be the last 2 laps of this first race of the season. Come on, boys and girls, show us some good action. Good start from Jan Prisowski, followed closely by Thomas Strauben, and we see some attempts being made already into the first corner rather. Strauben already tried to go into the inside, El Fegali managing to defend himself, but Tai is very, very close. Ooh, I think I saw some touching behind, some contact. Went also a little bit wide, El Fegali, while the Griffin Core by Campos cars keep their same order. And I think Tai has gone ahead. Yes, he has. He's gone up to P3. That was a very, very well done move by the Rodin Motorsport driver. And I don't think anything else other than third place is going to be possible. But he made it count when it counted. Behind we have this attack by Eggmans on the outside of Lammers. I think he was not going to be able to do it, but he definitely tried. And he will have some more information for the last lap. Remember, there's still one more attempt because while the time has finally run out, we have this extra lap to finish the first race of the year. Jan Przowski pushing hard, giving it all. Followed by Strauben. Oh, this is a red flag. Oh, we do not like that. We do not like having to finish under red flag. That is such a shame. That was car number 6 by Sacha Van Pat Bosch. That is such a shame. Of course, we said the drivers would be very eager to fight. Why? Well, because we already had 8 less minutes of driving to begin with. So this meant that drivers had less time to recover positions. But of course, this also means, unless I am very much mistaken, the race should be finished under this order. Now, what I do not know is what exactly they are going to be doing in regards to third place, because, of course, we have to see if the classification that will be counted will be the one at the start of last lap or the one at the last sector that they completed. We do know, therefore, that Jan Przowski and Thomas Strauben finish in the order that they were in. So, first win of the season by the Griffin Core by Campos team, with Przowski in first place, Strauben second. But I am not sure if third place is going to be for Nathan Tai or by the driver who was holding that position before, Christopher El Fegali. And I am not sure if they know it fully either, the drivers at least. And of course, that means also that we have the first points being handed out. Remember that the red flag happened after the clock time was down to 0. Now, I do have to wonder, seeing how drivers are actually just stopping the cars in the order they were in, if there is any objective to perhaps do one more lap. I'm not sure if under the safety car. No, but drivers are getting out of the car, so that should be it. And as we were saying, that should be it. And that should confirm the win for Jan Przowski. First win of the season for him. What a strange end to the first race of the year. And that is a big, big crash. That is, without a doubt, what caused the red flag rather than the out that we saw from Van Pat Bosch. So that looked to me like one of the ART, perhaps, Grand Prix cars. And this is, well, an underwhelming end to the first race of the season. And we are going to see some of the best moments, some of the highlights of this first race, which, this is the restart actually, the last restart, in which we saw that change in position for what was then third position. And Sacha Van Pat Bosch, the Dutch driver, who was out of the track. But we also had this crash, and this is the number 24 car, perhaps. That would be Hugh Holly. And of course, there's also some celebrations or some congratulations from the teams on the pit lane, because this is, as we said, that should be race done and dusted for today. And now we have confirmation, finally, as we were already anticipating. That is race being finished. Just 12 racing laps we had in the end, as we said, with Jan Prisowski taking that win. Perhaps not in the way that he would have liked to, but as drivers always say, a win is a win. Now, of course, it will be the turn of all the trackside team to make sure that all the protections, all the safety of the track is back to normality before we can resume action with the Euro Cup 3, which is the race that would be next in the program. That would be the first race of the weekend for them. But let us not move too fast. Let us not jump ship yet, because we still have some time left with the youngest of the bunch. And now, of course, it is time to recover all these cars and send them back to their pit lanes, back to their garage. And I still want to say, yes, we have also confirmation, as we mentioned as well before. In the end, of course, this red flag happened during that last lap, which means that the final race result has third place for Christopher El Fegali, despite how Nathan Tai actually managed to complete that overtake. Because that lap was not completed, so it was not counted. So technically that race restart, unfortunately, was not counted in any way, shape or form. But we did see some good overtakes in general this race. This was one of them, done by Swartz, in which Eijkmans was the unwilling victim. Others were not as lucky. We saw the Campos giving some good action with René Lammers, showing that you can always count on a small rival mistake to overtake them. And as we wait to see exactly how that develops for the next few races in terms of schedule, what we can say is that our time is also up for now, so we will not be enjoying this podium with the drivers that finish in the top 3. Let's remind that Jan Prisowski, Thomas Trauer, and Christopher El Fegali, who finished in the first, third, 3 positions. But we will be looking forward to more races, because next we are going to move to Euro Cup 3. So stay with us, don't go too far, but we give you some time to take some refreshments, because racing has only begun here in the Circuito de Jerez Ángel Nieto.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah. I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never ever mind and they beeswax. I don't ever cap, but I'm wearing like 3 hats. Never